What's up, what's up, what's up? It's your man Chaz Ellis once again. And after I did a video basically telling you not to bash your ex or talk badly about your relationships, a lot of people ask me if they should lie about their past relationships and what should they do if they run into a situation where people ask them questions. Well, I'm not going to tell you to lie, but I'm going to tell you to tell the job interview truth. What does that mean? You all know what I'm talking about. When you're at a job and somebody says, "What would you say is your greatest weakness?" Obviously, most of us are going to say stuff like, "I feel like I'm just a perfectionist. I think I tend to work too hard. I don't think I give myself enough time. I just devote myself to my job wholeheartedly." Stop it. You know good and well that may be one of the things that you do, but your greatest weakness would probably be the fact that you're on Facebook all day, or the fact that you steal office supplies. I'm just saying, that may be your greatest weakness, but you don't say that. You leave that part out and you tell the person the part of the story that would actually help you get the job. It's still true, it's just true without all that other stuff. You got what I'm saying? You don't tell people things that they don't necessarily need or even want to know. You want to get the job, so you don't tell people stuff that they really don't need to know. It's kind of like that. Now, when you're in a job interview, they're going to ask you questions like, "Well, why did you leave your last job?" Now, the truth could be you had a boss that was an asshole. They were disrespecting you, cursing you out, talking trash, treating you unfairly, all kinds of stuff. Legitimate reasons for leaving the job. You actually had to go to HR and get this dude fired. And the only reason you left the job was because you felt like they were giving you unfair reprisals for reporting something in the way that you should. None of this is your fault. None of this is something to not hire you over. But let's keep it real. If you tell them that story, you're probably not going to get the job. Not because you're a bad person, not even because they think you're a bad person, but because they don't really know the whole story. All they know is that you had a conflict with somebody on your last job. They're hearing your version of the story, but they're already not going to hire your former boss. They don't know them. They're not even applying for the job. You are. So they're going to focus on you and the fact that you are part of this story. They don't know if you're telling the whole truth. They don't know if you're lying. They don't know what you're doing. All they know is that you had a conflict with somebody else, which you just admitted to them, and it would be a lot easier for them not to hire you than it would be for them to hire you and then try to get rid of you later on. So you're probably not going to get a call back. You got to keep this in mind when you're thinking about relationships. It's the same philosophy. People are deciding to bring you into their life. So the beginning of a relationship is really kind of like a job interview. Now, I know a lot of guys might be in a situation where, say you broke up with your ex and they're like, your new prospective girlfriend is like, "Why did you break up with your ex? What happened?" And you might be like, "Well, she cheated on me with 3 of my friends, got pregnant by one of them, and she was just a terrible person, and she just disrespected me in every way possible." Now, you might be thinking to yourself, clearly this is her fault, and this lady that's sitting across from me is going to see this as being her fault. But she's not planning on dating your ex. She's not planning on being in any kind of relationship with your ex. She's planning on dating you. So she's focusing on you. And instead of going how bad your ex is, she might be sitting there going, "Damn, she cheated on this dude that many times? His stroke game must be awful." Yes, she could be sitting here thinking that your sex game is horrible, and that may be a reason for her to disqualify you. Or she might start looking at you funny. She might start thinking, what is it about you that made this girl cheat on you that many times? Now, it may not be your fault at all, and nobody's blaming you, but the reality of the situation is they're not going to date your ex. They're planning on dating you. So when you start telling all these stories, you're making yourself seem a certain way. Ladies, it's the same way. You might be talking about, "Oh, well, my ex was childish and he just always wanted to argue with me and he never respected me." You may be saying those things, and in your mind, everything might be his fault, and it may be super obvious that everything is his fault. But this person that you're talking to isn't planning on dating him. They're planning on dating you. So they're focusing on you and starting to ask themselves, well, how come you guys were arguing all the time? How come this person was acting this way towards you? How did you get to that point? Is what you're saying really the 100% true? Of course it is to you, but there's always another perspective. There's always another side of the story. And since they can't talk to that person, they're only talking to you, they gotta kind of look at your situation and say, you're telling me all this bad stuff about this person. You're telling me how bad the relationship was and that it was all their fault. But I'm sure there's somebody in this world saying some of the same stuff about me and they're wrong. So therefore, you're probably wrong. This is kind of how it works. So when you talk about your relationship, when you talk about your past situations, you want to give an interview truth. You want to tell people stuff that doesn't cause a controversy, that doesn't make them kind of have to choose sides or kind of have to read between the lines. You just want to give them kind of a simple scenario and basically say, man, oh, things didn't work out. We grew apart. Stuff like that. Don't really go in depth into the answers. As you get to know somebody, you may be able to tell them a little bit more after they've already established how they're going to treat you and after you've already established how you're going to treat them. But until then, really don't get into telling too much of the story. Keep it interview truth.